Gotham Knights is a single-player co-op action-adventure game, starring by its supporting cast Nightwing and Robin, Batgirl, and Red Hood, where you can choose to play as your favorite hero from the Bat crew of all four of them. The main drive for this game is the Batman's. This leaves the team to pick up the pieces and step up to become the heroes of Gotham. Needs if you like any of the latest iteration of Assassin's Creed games, be it Origin, Odyssey or Valhalla, you are gonna like Gotham Knights. Why? Well, I will tell you why Gotham Knights feels like an Ubisoft game without your typical Ubisoft. Single-player cash shop, it's got a real good narrative story, which is an absolute treat to play through, but in between the rich story you have a disjointed world that is repetitive and grindy, and unlike the Assassin's Creed games, it doesn't really have a change of scenery, but again, that's exactly what Assassin's Creed fans like myself really enjoy. Gotham Knights is one of those modern games that tries to dip its fingers in too many pies. All at once it feels like the game had multiple directions and paths. And rather than pick a single one, the team at Warner Bros. Montreal could not decide if they wanted to make a single-player, narrative-driven game an open-world adventure game, or a life-service game. They managed to create a captivating story that made you deeply involve yourself in the personal struggles and theme dynamic of the Bat crew, all while making some pretty lackluster open-world activities that probably would have been more engaging and enjoyable had they been given a little more love and attention prior to the launch of the game. But the biggest thing for me is just how similar this felt to Marvel Avengers. In fact, I think Skill Up in his review of Gotham Knights manages to sum it up perfectly, and as I was playing this, I was like, what's going on here? Something weird about this. Its structure does not work, its gear system is terrible, what are all those weird carnies I'm collecting so much. All this seems like the stuff you would put into a live service game, but it's not a live service game, it doesn't have any in-game spending. So what's the deal now? I'm not one for conspiracies, but I wonder if the flop of Marvel's Avengers forced a hard pivot in the way that this game was being designed, because many of its elements feel like leftovers from a live service model: the health of enemies, the gear rarity, and stat systems, the mountains of currencies I'm collecting, the open world grind, the customization options like skins and color paleters. As someone who used to make content on Marvel Avengers, I agree with absolutely everything that Shield Up has to say. It just makes too much sense, given that Warner Bros. Past missteps in trying to play catch up with Marvel. It feels like they heard the announcement of the Marvel Avengers Live Service game and realized they had to play catch up yet again, only for Marvel game to flop and them to be left with the foundations of a live service game, and then decide to turn it into the non-live service monstrosity that it is now. I guess it was the less risky option, so that's probably why they choose to do it. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the performance stuff, because who doesn't like the performance stuff? First, feel free to let me know in the comments down below frame rates. If you have watched any other review, you have probably heard people rave about the lack of consistency and lack of overall frames you will get while playing this game, so I won't harp on too much about this, as it's all been said before. But the fact that it's locked at 13 FPS on latest consoles and struggles to maintain it all while having poor optimizations on PC is quite unfortunate. I played this game on PS5 and it really struggled when traveling through the open world. Even on foot, my frame rates often dropped below the 13 mark, but not often enough to make the game unplayable, just often enough to break the immersions every time. It did, however, stay reasonably solid in combat sequence and the other edema factor was that in the side missions that take place in instances that are extremely linear levels, the frame rate did not drop below 13 the entire time. Its frame rate is really important. To you, I would recommend holding off until game's optimized a little more or good and buy a 14 series, so it looks like you might be waiting a bit longer. The other thing that a lot of people did not like about this game is the open world design's effect. That the game looks like kind of bland and does not feel distinctive as a playable city is the fact that no areas on the map were really memorable, and I would have to probably agree while you do travel to location multiplied times. In the playthrough, nothing really makes you stop and take in the sights. You never left saying no. It feels all very samey and forgettable, but I think that's what actually makes this game.